All right, this is 5.3 in Algebra 1, Year 1. This is what we do with 5.3. And I just realized that I left something off. We'll figure that out. So first thing I want you to do is draw this picture. You know, draw what I have right here in the middle. If you draw it, it's going to help you out so much. So I'm going to circle everything I want you to draw. Just draw this. Draw this. All right. So what we have here is we have a positive slope. All right. Because look, the word positive slope, the S is at the bottom and the E is at the top. That's why you know it's positive. It's going up. And when we have the negative slope over here, we have slope and the S is at the top and the E is at the bottom. It's going down. If you wrote your name, if you wrote your name here, it would go down. Okay. And then we have here at the bottom, we have a flat line, a straight flat line. So just think you had your phone. Okay. If you have your phone and you're holding it like this, we're going to call that landscape, or we're going to call it holding it horizontally. This is holding your phone horizontally. But let's say you turned your phone like this. Now you're holding your phone vertically, vertically. So this is vertical, this is horizontal, okay? This is vertical, this is horizontal. This is landscape, this is portrait, this is vertical, this is horizontal, okay? So good. I know you're drawing this because I asked you to, you should be. You'll need this for later on. All right, so whenever we have a vertical line, we use UND. And UND really stands for undefined. So if we took the whole thing, would be right here, undefined slope. But right now, I just want you to write down UND, or remember that UND stands for undefined. And once again, this is a vertical slope. All right. And the vertical slope helps you find the Y-intercept. That's why we have that here. So here's a horizontal. Remember, this is kind of landscape. It's a zero slope. And one of the ways I always draw my Z's with a line through them. All right. Other thing that I do to remind myself is I make the O on zero very large. Zero slope. Okay. So that's going to be a zero slope. And the zero slope helps you find the x-intercept. The zero slope helps you find the x-intercept. Now, one of the things that's kind of interesting is when we have a graph, let's say we had a graph. On that graph, we're going to have what? A line that goes this way, and we're going to have a line that goes, let me change the color up a little bit. We have a line that goes this way, right? All right, so this is the y axis, A, X, I, S. And this is the x axis. So what's interesting is the horizontal line helps you find the x-intercept, and a vertical line helps you find the y-intercept. That should be a y. I made a mistake. That should be a y. All right, so that's the y-intercept. Okay, good, 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 good. So we have these, right? We wrote everything down. So what should go here? This should say horizontal. That's the part that I forgot to type in. Horizontal. Let me change the color. Change it to red. Kind of get it to fit in. All right. All right. And so the letter that should go here is a H. So I left that off. Okay. So Hoy and Bucks. Hoy and Bucks. The other thing that I want you to pay attention to is a negative slope goes down, a positive slope goes up. An undefined slope is straight up and down, and a flat line, that's a zero slope. Okay? So if you got that, I think you're ready for 5-3. If you got that, I think you're ready for 5-3. Okay? Remember, that's actually should be a Y here. Okay, good. And look, I left this information up here at the top, and it's the same information. Other information that we have here is at the top is X and Y. The X tells you left and right. The Y tells you up and down. So when you have the coordinate or the ordinate or ordered pair, the X tells you left and right, the Y tells you up and down. And when we're doing a slope, the slope on the top fraction, just imagine this is a fraction and this is the numerator. This is the denominator. This is the top part of the fraction. This is the bottom. Okay. So this tells you up or down, and that tells you left or right. So if I had this fraction, I'm going to go up 2. I'm going to go to the right 2. If I have this fraction, I'm going to go down 3 to the right 2. All right. So now let's turn this 3 into an 8. Now we're going down 8 and over 2. And let's say that was a positive 8. Sometimes you don't even need to write the positive sign there, but that's a positive 8. So if that's the case, we're going to go up 8 and over 2. Good stuff. Now, let's get rid of this and let's do some of the work. Okay? Let's do some of the work. Ooh, I need to stop doing that. Okay. So this says graph the line through points -1, 5, and 2, 1. Okay. So right here in the middle, we have what we consider our point of origin. So this is going to be our point of origin. And our point of origin is right here at 0, 0. So just keep that in mind. That's our point of origin. That's 0, 0. And so this is our X. This is our Y, our ordered pair or our coordinates. Here's another X and Y. Make sure you have them inside parentheses. So it says graph the line through points. The first thing I need to do is put the points up, and then I can graph the line. So -1, -5. Side of my point of origin, I'm going to go over 1, so that says -1. I'm going to go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll have a point right here. Okay. And then it tells me to go from the point of origin, go over 2, +2, 1, 2, and up 1. So here's my next point. So I have my points, right? I have my points. Let's go ahead and make the points green so you can see exactly. That's going to be that point, and that's going to be this point. All right, and it says to graph a line. So now I need to graph a line that includes both of these points. So and my line's not as perfect as it could be, but it's a line. Now, is this positive? The line's going up. So let's look over here. Ooh, this shows you that it's a positive line. So we're going to put it over here that it's a positive line, just to kind of remind ourselves. Okay. So we graphed a line and we did the points. Give the slope of the line. Okay. So we need to find out how to get from, how high, how steep it's going. So I see a point right here. I see another point right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up 1, going to go up 2. So On my slope, I went up 2 and I went over 1. So my slope is 2 over 1. Now here's a trick. Let me just check to be sure. 1, 2 over 1. That meant 1, 2 over 1. Yep. So I know I just checked, and sometimes it's important to check. I did check. And the interesting thing is, if you have a number over 1, let's say you had a 9 over 1, that equals a 9. You don't even have to have the 1 on the denominator. So you can just put this as 2, and we'd have that correct. All right. And this says this is a blank line. What kind of line? A slope. This is a blank slope. Is it a positive slope, a negative slope, an undefined slope, or a zero slope? Well, it's going up. So we know that that's going to be a positive slope. Okay. Because it goes upward. Cool. Now, here's the interesting thing, the y-intercept of the line. Now, y-intercept is something we talked about. So here is the y line. That's the y line. And so where does this line cross? It crosses right here. Right here is where it crosses, right? So that's at -3. Okay. So it crosses at -3. But when we write our y-intercept or x-intercept, we always use the coordinate setup. Oh, that doesn't look well. Okay. It's hard writing with some of this stuff, but I like hard. Hard makes you stronger. Okay, so 0, -3. That's the y-intercept. And that's how we answered that question. That's how we answers that question. Looks a little messy. So if you want to, you don't need to have these lines. You don't need to have those lines. I like using them. Okay. You know what the y-intercept, so you don't need that. All right. So now we have that line. Here's a point. Here's another point. We already did everything. We answered everything. So let's move on to the next problem. All right. Here's the second part, the second question. Give the slope of the line to the right. Okay. So I'm looking at this line and I see, okay, here's a point right here. That's the point. And here's another point right here. Good. There's a point right there. There's a point right here in the point of origin. Yeah, right there in the middle. There's another point. And the points that I'm pointing out, that's funny, are where the X lines and the Y lines connect. Okay. So let's do something very quickly. This is our Y axis, right? This straight up and down, that's our Y axis. And this is our X axis. And we're just going to use that for right now, just to remember what they are. Okay. So that's the Y axis and that's the X axis. All right. So let's see how this is going to help us. Give the slope of the line to the right. So what we did to go from this point to this point, we went down 1 over 1. So we went down 1, down is negative, over 1. And remember, if you have a number over a number, you can just write it as that number. We have a number over 1. If you have a number over 1 in the fraction, you can just write it as the number on the top, the numerator. So now we have -1 over 1. So we're just going to keep the numerator, the top part, as -1. That'll be the slope of the line, -1. All right. Now, you might have a teacher that goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that would be down 3 over 3. And if 3 goes into -3, it goes one time. So we came up with the same answer, came up with the very same answer. Okay. So you're good. All right. This is a blank slope because, well, what type of slope? Is it positive? Is it going up? No, I think it's a negative slope. It's going down. So we're just going to type in here, this is a negative slope. Maybe I'll change the color. Yeah. All right. Because it's going down. It's going down in DMs, right? Now, the Y-intercept, we talked about that a second ago. Y-intercept. Here's our Y-axis. So where does this, right there at the point of origin, which is our 0, 0. So the Y-intercept, remember, we're always going to put it in the ordered pair format where we have a x, comma, y. Good. So we just answered that one. That one was pretty easy, right? You ready for the next one? The next one's going to be a little hard. All right. So as I said earlier, this one's going to be a little harder, just a little harder. All right. But first, let's remember Hoy. All right. So Hoy, in this case, stands for horizontal. I have to check my spelling sometimes. And the horizontal line has what type of slope? Zero. A zero slope. All right. And that's what the O stands for. If you notice, I made my O on 0 really large to remind me that's what the O stands for. And what does the Hoi remind you? It helps you to find the Y axis. Helps you find the Y axis. So here's our Y axis. I just highlighted the Y axis. And oh, I put axis. You know what I should have put? I should have put Y-intercept. I should have put intercept. Intercept. All right, so uh, will that work? I'm gonna move it over. Okay, so Y-intercept. Okay, so let's do this. Let's have some fun now. It says, number 2, graph the horizontal line. Now, what type of line is it? Horizontal line. Through the point. So first thing we're going to do is do the point, -2, 3. So we're going to start at our point of origin, -1, -2, and go up 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have our first point. Good. Okay, and it says we're going to graph a horizontal line. Horizontal is just like this. It's just straight across. So our line is going to be just straight across. All right. So let's graph our horizontal line. Here we go. So we graphed a horizontal line. Okay. That was easy. I said it was going to be hard, but it was actually kind of easy. Now, number 3, use something to remember. What are we going to remember? What are we going to remember? Oh, okay. We're going to remember HOI, which stands for horizontal, zero slope, and Y-intercept. And what is the, number 4 says, what is the Y coordinate of every point on the line? Well, let's see. Here's our X. Here's our Y. It's a horizontal line, so all of the y, you know, it's the same. So what's the y coordinate on every point? Because it crosses right here. That's where a y-intercept is. That's where a y coordinate is. Okay, so the answer is going to be 3. Or if you want to, you can also, actually not if you want to, I would recommend that you put it in coordinate or ordered pair form. All right. And the slope of every horizontal line. So if I look at a horizontal line, what type of slope am I looking at? It's right here. It tells you right here. It's going to be a 0 slope. So you can write out 0, or you can just put the number 0. Either way. Good. So we just followed and finished that one. Good stuff. Yes. Let's move on to the next part. So VUX. What do you think VUX stands for? We talked about horizontal. What do you think VUX stands for? Vertical? Yeah. Like when you're jumping up and down, you're doing a vertical. In terms of a slope, undefined slope, and VUX helps you find the x-intercept. Okay. And if you remember, we have all this here to remind ourselves. The x goes left and right, the y goes up and down. On a slope, the slope is always a fraction. The top part is up or down, and the left part is to the right. So if it was plus 8 over 2, then we know it's going to go up 8 and down 2. So it says graph the vertical line through the point -2, 3. So that's our x, that's our y. Yeah, I'm saying the same stuff over and over. Over and over. This one, we're doing a vertical line. So a vertical line looks like this, straight up and down. All right, so that's what our line should look like. All right, so first we need to put the point, -2, 3. We're going to start at our point of origin, -2, -1, -2. There we go. And up to 3. 1, 2, 3. So now we have our first point. First point will be right here, right? Good stuff. We can actually keep that scribble scrabble there. We're going to use what to remember? Remember? Well, that's what we're going to use to remember. What is the x coordinate of every point on the line? The x coordinate of every point on the line. The x right here, x. It already tells you, -2. And since it's a vertical line, our line is going to go straight up and down, right? Right? That's what vertical lines do. So it says graph the vertical line. I never graphed a line. Let me go back and graph that line because I want to make sure that I get all the points. Okay, so I graphed a line. Good, good, good. What's the x coordinate for every point on the line? Every point on that line has a x of -2. That's at -2. This is at -2. This is at -2 for the x. This is -2 for the x. You know, this is at -2 for the x. So the x coordinate for every point in the line is going to be -2. Now, once again, we're going to always answer using this format. All right. But this is our x and this is our y. And the slope of every vertical line, the slope of every vertical line is u in d. So what's the rest of it? We have right here. vertical line, UND. That means undefined. So my handwriting is horrible. So I'm just gonna put space, Defined, undefined. Okay, so now we answered all of those questions. Now let's get to the hard. I said this is the hard part, but this is truly easy. All right, so what's the slope for number one? Well, we see that it's a zero slope. Zero slope. What? So we can look right here and see that's the zero slope. So I'm just going to put zero. Or you can just put Z-E-R and make sure you make your O's big. So that's what the O stands for. And what? We have 40. That's what it stands for. Okay. What's the Y-intercept? Well, that's right here. Remember, this is the Y axis and it's right here at -3. So our answer is -3. But remember, we're going to keep it in that ordered pair format of X, open parentheses, X, comma, Y, close parentheses. So I need to have my X, which is 0. And is my X 0? Is my Y? My X? Oh, hey, where's my X? Yep, my X is right here in the middle. Right here in the middle. So I didn't go anywhere. All right, good. Let's look at number two. What's the slope? Well, it's straight up and down. So that's going to be UND. All right, so I'm going to put UND. And you know what that stands for, right? Undefined. Okay, what's the Y-intercept? Does it cross the Y axis at all? Nope. So we say none. Ooh, that looks messy. I'm just going to type it on here. No, none yet. None your business. All right. So that's that. Let's go to our last. Okay. Okay. Let's let this be the last part because I'm tired of y'all. Okay. So graph the points. Here's our X. Here's our Y. All of them are in that coordinate or ordinate or ordered pair format, right? X, Y, X, Y, X, Y. So 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that one is right here. Kind of messy, but you get the point. Okay, the next one is what? -2, 4. That's interesting. This had a 4 for the Y. This had a 4 for the Y. I wonder what that's telling you. All right, so let's go -2, 2, and we're going to go up to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you know what this tells me? I made a mistake on my first one because that Y is 4. This Y is 4, but I have it here. So I made a mistake. And hopefully you caught that mistake. Hopefully you caught that mistake. So let's redo that one. All right. This one says go over 3. 1, 2, 3, and go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my point should really be right here. That's my point. Okay. And here's my other point. Okay, good. And now let's look at this last one they want us to work on. This last one. Okay. This is our X and this is our Y. All right. So catch me if I make a mistake. All right. So this one says go over 5. So from a point of origin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go up 4. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my point should be right here. Okay. Now it says to graph the points. Then the second point, second direction says sketch the line. that contains these points. So I'm going to go ahead and sketch a line that contains these points. So let's go ahead and put the line here. Good. All right, so I did number 9. I sketched the points. Okay, the y-intercept. So where does it cross the y line? Where does it cross the y-axis? This is our y-axis, remember? Where does it cross? And somebody said, well, I'm sure that somebody said it crosses right here. So that's 4. And remember, we're doing it in the coordinate form. Well, but if you just want to say 4, you can do that. That'll work. But the teacher's going to expect it in the ordered pair format. These points form a blank line. What type of line is that? What type of slope is it? What type of slope is it? Oh, yeah, you see it. You saw it. That's why I leave up my notes so I can refer back to my notes up here, because this tells me that's a positive slope, this is a negative slope, this is an undefined slope, this is a 0 slope. The ordered pair, the x tells me left or right, the y tells me up or down. When I look at the slope is either up or down on top and to the right on the bottom. Okay. And so number 12, the slope of the line is, what's the slope of the line? What's the slope of the line? Oh, so you caught the mistake. Good. You caught it. You caught it. Because that's supposed to be 0 slope. Good. Slope of the line is 0, but it forms a horizontal line. I hope you caught that. I'm going to assume you caught it. So now with this, you should be able to knock the rest of these problems out in 5-3. You should knock out the rest of these problems in 5-3.